Hello, invaders. It's your host, the Martian Skylar Mars, and welcome to another great episode of the MarsTV podcast. We have a very special episode for you today. We have former WWE Tough Enough competitor and current Lucha Underground star Marty the Moth Martinez. Marty, thank you for coming on to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right. And by the way, how's your day been going? I understand you're a very busy man. One of the things I was curious about is what is a day in the life of Marty Martinez?
I am a busy man, yeah. So, man, how you doing, brother? Let's see. I am at the stock brokerage firm right now. I own two businesses. I'm also a stunt person I do independent wrestling as well as Lucha Underground. So I kind of have like four careers going off my phone with the two businesses and trying to keep up on social media and stuff and keep in touch with fame.
Wow. You're a very busy man. I understand you've been around the block a couple times as far as professional wrestling goes. You were even on Tough Enough. Though I noticed, looking back, I had to go back and watch that season as I do homework for every interview that I do. Another competitor on that same season was Evilise, who you work with now in Lucha Underground. Is that how weird is that to bump back into her again in another business?
Ooh, it's quite interesting. In fact, did you notice anybody else on there?
I thought I did, but I wasn't entirely sure. I think Son of Havoc, maybe?
That's right. Son of Havoc pre-beer. So this is pubescent Son of Havoc, but before the beard. Andy leaves both on Lucha Underground there with me. It's awesome because I already have a relationship with them. They're great people. Son of Havoc is actually one of my favorite people in the world, in the entire world. That man is so funny to hang out with, and I love hanging out with him. It's great to see him on both shows.
That's got to be pretty cool. And one last question about Tough Enough, because that was a long time ago. You probably talked about that plenty of times. Is Bill DeMott as scary as everyone says?
I'm not as scary as everyone says?
No. I have two more questions about Tough Enough, because that was a long time ago, obviously. Is Bill DeMott as scary as everyone says?
Simple answer, absolutely. Yeah, well, depends on your situation. I actually had a good relationship with him. He's one of those hard-nosed, tough training kind of trainers. He'll make you work for everything you get in this business. So that's a very good thing, and I don't think a lot of people can handle it, but that's the kind of training that I like. So, yes, he can be scary, but depends on the situation. I smile a lot and just kind of do whatever happens. So it's fun.
All right.
Feels nice, though.
And my last question, actually, I guess would still apply to now. Do people still compare you to Donny Osmond?
Oh my gosh. I grew out my hair so I could do the Marty the Moth character. So those have gone by a little bit. However, I did meet Donny Osmond, and I did tell him the story about people calling me Donny Osmond. He got a good kick out of it. Put me in a headlock, and he thoroughly enjoyed just the whole story, and that people thought of Donny Osmond when they were watching wrestling. But no, I don't get it as much as I used to. I put on 40 pounds of muscle and grow my hair now, so
I would imagine
a little bit less like him.
And now, I was always curious because now you're working in Lucha Underground, which, from my understanding, is a very different. Like everything about it is different from working in any other promotion. But from your perspective, how is it different?
How is it different? Okay, Lucha Underground to me is what wrestling is supposed to be. When I wanted to be a wrestler before I started, I always thought it'd be a group of people who all hung out, all had fun together, all supported each other. And going around and being in the different scenes that I've been able to do in my career, most locker rooms aren't that. There's a lot of guys that are really close, and then there's a whole clique over here that hates this group, or this person wants this person's spot, so they'll do something, backstab this person. Lucha Underground is what wrestling is supposed to be to me, at least in the locker room. We all support each other. We all watch each other's matches in the back while they're happening live. I've stayed at Johnny Mundo's house. I stayed at PJ Black's house when I needed a place to crash in Los Angeles when I'm shooting film. This is a giant family, from the directors to the executive producers, all the way down to the wrestlers. That, I think, is the biggest difference to me, is we all are a family, and we want to try and help make each other look the best we can and put on the best show that we can. Unfortunately, not all locker rooms are like that.
I guess that is unfortunate. Is there any? I guess that's inappropriate. I noticed you're doing extremely well in Lucha Underground. Right. You're doing extremely well in Lucha Underground.
Thanks, man.
And you clearly have a passion.
Good season 3 is a good season.
Oh yeah, the Weapons of Mass Destruction match, I gotta give that to you. There was no loser in that match. You both came out looking like stars. But
you're gonna come out feeling like one.
That was actually one of the questions I had written down here. We'll skip to that for a second. After a hardcore match of that caliber, how do you feel when you wake up the next morning?
Like I don't want to wake up. With that match, everything came together beautifully, and we can talk about that later if you want. But everything just came together beautifully for that match. The pain was definitely there. I was the slowest walker I had that match, I believe, on Saturday. And then they let me and Killshot, I believe, have the day off the next day on Sunday, because we shoot on Saturday and Sunday. So they didn't have us wrestle the next day and let us heal up. I ended up with 7 staples in my head. I hurt, I won't lie. But at the same time, to me, everything emotionally came together, career-wise came together. Shane is such an amazing, or Killshot is such an amazing worker that emotionally I was on a super big high still. I'm still on a high from it showing, doing the match and from it showing on TV. Emotionally, and I was on a super big high, still am. Physically, after a couple days / a couple weeks, a week after that, I felt it for sure. They take a toll on you, so let's not try and do that every match.
Oh, of course not. Now, speaking earlier when I said you were doing... speaking of you doing, again, extremely well in Lucha Underground, you clearly have a very strong passion for this, and Lucha Underground is starting to be watched by millions of people worldwide. Do you feel that this is a place you can get your name out? And does that help your motivation?
This is... Well, absolutely. I honestly think I see the numbers when they come out for Lucha Underground, and I laugh, because really, I'm thinking at least half of the people that watch Lucha Underground, unfortunately, are watching it in some sort of illegal streaming service. So we actually don't get the numbers, whether it be Daily Motion or Watch Wrestling or whatever site it's going to be. People are watching it, and I don't think the numbers reflect that. This is definitely something that people are watching. My name's been out a little bit from WWE Tough Enough, but this, I really think people can see what I can do behind or in front of the camera, whether it be acting, whether it be wrestling, working a character. This, I hope, is around for another 90 more seasons. And I will be waving that Lucha Underground the entire time these doors are open.
Wow. You really like working in Lucha Underground, I can see.
I love Lucha Underground. I was texting the executive producer saying, I love you, and swearing at the guy who does my contracts because we have a hate-love relationship. You can't really tell your boss, hey, ugly, blah, 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 blah. Hey, idiot, blah, 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 blah. I go up and I slap the executive producer's butt because that's who I am. I'm a very touchy-lovey person. And they don't fire me. It's great. They giggle and say, oh, God, here comes Martin. So I love Lucha Underground. The show is fantastic, and I don't even get to we don't get to see it before it comes out. So the show is great, and we don't know what to expect. But just filming it and being at the Lucha Underground Arena is honestly some of the most fun I get to have near a wrestling. It's really an amazing thing. I hope to see, which I definitely see sitting around for a very long time. We just need to get more eyes on it.
Of course. And not to answer your one thing you said earlier about people watching it quote unquote illegally. I buy it through iTunes, so yeah, I think I get a pass.
Oh, that's awesome. You get the pass. I will not show up at your house and destroy you. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much, Marty.
I want. I say that because I like obviously putting on TV takes money. But at this point, I want every single eye to see it. So I just love the fact that people are trying all sorts of ways to see it. But those people who are buying it on iTunes, thank you. Those people who are on the Verizon Fios, thank you. Because that makes sure to the sponsors and to the people signing the checks that makes Lucha Underground run, oh, hey, people are wanting this. They're willing to pay for it too. So, thank you, good sir.
You're welcome, Marty. Now, I wanted to go back to the Weapons of Mass Destruction match. This is about the point in which I was actually going to ask that. That was, I believe, your first main event in Lucha Underground. Like, you've competed, obviously, many times, but that was your first main event, right?
It sure was.
How nervous were you, like, walking down those stairs past the Believers, and this is the main event, your time to shine? How are you feeling up till that point?
Well, whether it's main event or not main event, every single time, I've been wrestling for a long time, and I honestly am nervous before I walk through any curtain, whether there's 10 people out there, 20 people out there, or thousands of people. Like at Triple Mania, there was 20,000 people, and I was nervous. I was just as nervous for Triple Mania as I was the indie show I did last Saturday. I feel like if you're not nervous, you don't care, so it's good to be nervous. However, that Weapons of Mass Destruction match, me and Killshot actually asked for that kind of match. Not that kind of match, but we asked for a blow-off match for us to have. And what I love about Lucha Underground, which, again, another reason I love Lucha Underground as a wrestler, is we talk to the writers and they listen and say, okay, let's do it. And they came up with the Weapons of Mass Destruction match. So that's another reason why I love Lucha. But what they said is, this is your first main event for both of you guys. We're giving you the ball. Depending on what you do with this ball is going to say a lot for your careers for the next little bit. This is from Vampiro, and then he's kind of been helping me out here, but that's kind of what he told me before. So if that didn't add any pressure to your first main event, it did. It was definitely very pressureful, but once I go through there and I get into Marty the Moth character, we just had fun. Me and Killshot, we just went out there, we had fun. I wasn't feeling any of the pressure. Once I was out there, Killshot is such a good guy to work with. The pressure, I definitely know he was feeling it as well. But once we got out there and he started laying some fun punches and kicks to my face, that wakes you up real quick.
And another question about working with luchadors, because Lucha is a mainly Mexican-based, I guess culture I can call it, because it's very powerful.
Oh yeah.
This is I don't know, this is very small. I barely added it to the list of questions. It's the language barrier. Is that ever a problem? Because from my understanding, a lot of those guys mainly speak Spanish, which is why there's so many times where we'll have like subtitles on the show, like with Aerostar or Pentagon, because I've asked them both and they've both said that their English is not very good.
It's not, and I only know a little bit of Spanish. I'm working on it, but definitely it's an issue. I wouldn't say an issue, but it's a problem that gets resolved every single time we shoot the episode. Some guys don't speak a lick of English. Some guys speak a little bit, but we figure a way to work it out. We have translators there. We have people like Angelico who speak great English. He speaks Spanish very great. Very well. Yeah, I can speak well. But we find ways to make it work. And wrestling is pretty universal. It's with Lucha Libre. They do the right side of things. We do the left side of things. So there's a little bit difference in how it's done, but the mechanics and the ideas of wrestling are all kind of the same. So it's definitely something that we overcome every single episode. But that's another thing I love about this locker room, honestly, is that we want it to be the best show as possible, so we will work through it. And I remember one time in particular, do you mind if I tell you a story real quick?
I love stories. That's what this show is for. Please, give us a story.
Well, I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I'm trying to do as much as I can. And so when I'm around those wrestlers, I try to speak as much Spanish as I can. And usually it's pretty broken, or I get a couple sentences of Spanish in, and then it's like half Spanish, half English. So I had a match against Sexy Star. We've had a few encounters, and she doesn't speak very much English whatsoever. And I was telling her before, I'm like, hey, well, what if you hit the ropes at this point, and then I'll do this. And when she said, okay, looked very confused at me. So I started acting out. Okay, you're going to hit the rope. I'm going to do this. Blah, blah, blah. But I was saying it in what I thought was the correct Spanish. So I was saying, so you're going to, I think I said, hit the la ropas. Or no ropas. I was telling her, no ropes. Don't hit the ropes. Don't hit the ropes. That's what we were thinking about is, should she hit the ropes? Should she not hit the ropes? What's going to be better for what I think is the situation? Anyway, I said, no ropas, no ropas, no ropas. I was thinking that meant no ropes, so don't hit the ropes. Well, ropas in Spanish actually means clothes. So she was giving me those weird looks because I was telling her no clothes, no clothes, no clothes, and telling her what we were doing that night. So that made it a little bit awkward, and that's kind of fits the character, but the language barrier is definitely there. So instead of not hitting the ropes, I was telling her, you don't have any clothes. No clothes, no clothes. And so I understand the weird looks she was giving me when I was telling her that's what we want to do in the middle of the ring. That was fun.
Oh my god. That's hilarious. Oh my god. I tried very hard to hold that in while you were telling the story, not to ruin it. That's...
Oh, let it out, brother, so I know if I'm being boring or not. No, it's fun. The look she gave me when I was saying no, I thought I was saying the right thing. Hey, let's not hit the ropes. No ropes, no ropes. And I was saying no clothes, no clothes. So she thought this Marty the Moth character was getting a little bit too real, probably. Oh, well.
Now, speaking of your character, I mean, from what I've been told, it's a very different person than you. Is it hard to make such an extreme transition as opposed to playing a character who's a lot closer to who you are in real life?
Marty the Moth is actually who I am in real life. I take acting classes. I'm actually going to acting class literally right after this video. So I'm used to doing it. getting into a character, but really, I talked to Krista Joseph, who's the head writer and creative there at Lucha, and I'm not sure how to take this. Maybe you tell me how you would take this. Someone was asking about the characters, how they get the characters of Lucha Underground, and he said, "Well, we actually write the characters for the people that we get." So basically, when he looked at me, Martin Casals, he decided that Marty the Moth was a character that reminds him of me. So I'm not sure if he's like the goofiness, or I don't know if he thinks I'm standing outside of his window peering in, or what. So I guess DJ writes the characters for the individual people he cast as those characters. That's fun. It's always just me just turned up, and I usually aren't. I'm not normally the creep in real life, but that's fun to play with. So no, it's not really hard for me to get into. I've done some acting in film before.
This is a question I should probably ask in another interview, but that makes me wonder if your writer thinks that Jeff Cobb is really some kind of serial killer.
See, does it make you think? Now you go back and think about the characters. Like, does he really think he's a killer? Does he really think he kidnaps women? And I've only kidnapped a couple women in my life, so I don't know where he gets that from.
Oh man, this is going to be a long conversation for me and my trainer. This is going to be hilarious.
Your trainer, like your personal trainer? Or?
My wrestling trainer. I'm currently just starting out. I've been training maybe a month and a half.
Congratulations, man. How's it going?
It's going very well. That was actually the last thing I had written on here is, you got any advice for a kid just starting out?
Absolutely. Study tape and outwork everybody else that you know. Period. And that includes in the ring, at the gym, and what you eat. What you look like is really 80% what you eat. So outwork everybody in the gym, the kitchen, and in the ring. That's going to be my best advice that I always give the new kids. And then study tape so you know what you're doing right. It's a tough sport, a lot to know. But if you want it, you can get it.
Now, thank you very much for your advice. That's always the last question I ask every episode.
Yeah, no worries.
But we skipped a little bit ahead on that one. There was actually one last question I had for you before we get to fan questions. My last question for you on my personal list was, I've noticed your character shows a lot of interest in Melissa Santos, who, from my understanding, is Brian Cage's real-life girlfriend or wife or something. But I've wondered, why has that not been a feud yet?
I'm trying to think of a good answer without being a spoiler. That gets addressed this season.
Okay, I'm okay with that. If you don't want to spoil anything, that's fine. But if that gets addressed, I'm happy with that.
Well, you figure 3 seasons of a guy creeping out on Melissa Santos. Eventually, it's got to get addressed. So, you'll see how it plays out. It's very fun. Like I said, season 3 is an amazing season.
God, I love this show.
And every time I'm next to Melissa, it's a good day for her.
All right. And that was the last of my written questions. So now we can jump to our fan questions. These are questions that I ask through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So far, I've yet to get any actual questions on Twitter, but that's okay. We've still got some here.
Really? Okay.
All right.
Well, let's make sure. We'll resolve that. We'll fix that.
All right. At Burnout Inc. BPW on Instagram asks, how do you feel about the evolution of your character on Lucha Underground?
Oh, man, I love it. It actually, essentially mirrors my real life character development. I was brought in originally to be comedic relief. They hired me, one of the first guys to be signed to a Lucha Underground contract. They said, we know you want, we like you, we know you're entertaining, we're just not quite sure what to do with you yet. All right. So we, after trying a few things, they said, well, you're going to be our comedic relief. And so as you see, I came in, had some fun moments, we'll go with that, in season 1, a little bit of season 2. But I talked with Vampiro and said, hey, what can we do to make this comedic character a contender? And he gave me some advice, and that's where things took a very dark turn at the premiere, or the season finale of season 1. So, honestly, I love it. I love the way the character's been developed. It's amazing to me. I love it. I love that the fans are catching that and remembering when I first came in and was talking to Dario Cueto outside of the building, hoping to get a chance to come in, versus now I'm beating people over the head with missiles. I love it. I love this show.
I hope everyone here watching does as well, because God, Lucha Underground is entertaining. I was so excited to get the chance to talk to you about this.
I appreciate it, man.
Both as a fan and as a professional.
People podcast watching Lucha Underground.
Now, the next question is from @GucciGang.k on Instagram. Wow, these names are crazy.
Okay.
Where do you feel your career is going?
Up. Straight up. Honestly, this has been just in my personal life, this has been one of the best years I've actually ever had, if not the best year, both financially, wrestling-wise, and opening up income streams with my mentors, my businesses. I just did Triple Mania a couple months ago. I'm going down to Monterrey, Mexico this weekend for AAA. I believe I'm going to get a piece of some of my lucha fellows there. Up. That's the way I see my career going. This is the start of something great. And I 100% hope and plan that Lucha Underground is going to be there for another 90 seasons, because I definitely want that to be part of my life. But either way, if Lucha Underground, no matter what happens to that, my career is going up. And people have seen me, and I'm excited to see where it goes and how far up it goes.
I very hope Lucha Underground's around for a very long time, too. I don't know why it just registered in my brain, but I am not shocked Vampiro would be the guy to lead you to go dark side with your character. Not in the slightest.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, okay, no, that's true. That's funny. Yeah, no, he's a smart man, but he's got a little bit of a dark mind. And not only is that Vampiro as a character, that's Vampiro as a person. I love it. He's been a great asset and mentor to me. So I give all the credit in the world to Vampiro for what he's done for me.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's another question I guess I probably should have added on this list. There's a lot of like old school guys on here, like Blue Demon Jr. was on the show. We see the recent debut of Dr. Wagner Jr. You know, Rey Mysterio just showed up. Vampiro's been on the show since day one. What's it like being around like such people with so much experience to give?
I've always been around people with experience. I've done a lot of other companies with experience, so it's always good. It's the fun part about Lucha is that they're willing to give that information. It's always good when veterans will give information and give advice to people who haven't been around as long as they have. It's amazing. It's a great opportunity, and I know everyone at Lucha is taking as much advantage of the opportunities that they can to try and just get any information they can from these veterans, and that's the way it should be. And I'm very glad that Lucha Underground has that respect for the veterans, and because we're doing something different. We're not what normal wrestling is. We're doing something different. I'm glad it's with people in the higher ups or with people that also show that respect and have that respect for these veterans like them. They're an awesome thing to see. So it's a blessing, truly.
Wonderful. Now to another fan question. Stephen Pem, P-E-H-M on Facebook, I don't want to say that wrong, asks, did you come up with the Marty the Moth gimmick, and how? We addressed this earlier, but if you want to synopsis it real quick.
Okay, yeah, no, I supposedly Kristen Joseph wrote it a little bit before with characteristics of the person that they cast for it, so how that means to me or what he thinks of me is questionable but fun. However, one thing that has been pretty trademark of Marty the Moth is messing with Melissa. And that actually happened because of rehearsals when Marty the Moth was first introduced. Like at my first match with So during rehearsals, we kind of know, okay, he's going to come down from here, etc. So the camera guys can be there. And I was in real life just messing with Melissa because that's what I like to do. I like to goof off and have fun. And while I was there at rehearsals and messing around with her, I was sitting behind her. But I was just goofing around with her, and Chris Joseph found me and said, why don't you wave your arms like a moth? And be just as weird as you are right now. You're standing right behind her, so she can feel your breath on the back of her neck. Like, all right, so I'll do it. For real, she'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. On TV? Yeah, for sure. All right. So that rehearsals is kind of how that happened, and Chris and Joseph gave me that idea. And they gave me a guideline. And really, we just kind of listened to the fans, saw what worked, and the character just kind of evolved from there. But really just started with a goof off at rehearsal and an idea from the creator of that Lucha Underground. Definitely been awesome. Hey, but also the fans. You can't force something down the throat to the fans, as you can see by some other companies. Got some guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin. They were made by the fans, not with. I talked to him on the phone. That's not where he thought it was going to go, but he's certainly glad it did. Fans make it, so I was definitely blessed that the fans kind of enjoyed that character and kind of took it where it went. Long-winded question. Sorry, man.
Of course. We have a two-part question from Zach Manzi on Facebook. He asks, what is it like working with Killshot, and who is your favorite wrestler growing up or just starting out?
Growing up or just starting out? Okay, a little bit different. What is it like working with Killshot?
Yeah, two-part question.
I think I had the most fun. I've had in that Weapons of Mass Destruction match with Killshot. He's so talented, and he gets it. He knows what's going to put on a good show, and honestly, he's one of my favorite people that I was able to work a program with. Killshot is amazing in every way. I know he does a lot of stuff over at CZW. Shane Strickland, if you see him, if you can get a chance to see him live, go. He is a talent that people are going to see a lot of this season, and he honestly is one of the underrated talents out right now that's going to get some good exposure, which he fully deserves. So that's Killshot. The other question was, remind me again?
Who is your favorite pro wrestler growing up or just starting out?
Favorite wrestlers. Just starting out, I was a football fan. I played football and I was watching when I was in high school. So I liked Bill Goldberg. And really just because of the spear, and it reminded me of football. He came from the Atlanta Falcons. So that's a guy I related to. He just came out and killed people. But then I got a little bit more into wrestling. I saw Shawn Michaels. That is, to this day, my favorite wrestler. That is a man that I can always stand behind. Is going to steal the show every single time he's out there. So when I first started out, Bill Goldberg. From now on, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Love that man.
Oh yeah, if I could share a personal story for a second. When I was 12, my dad. I'm 18 now. If you haven't guessed that I'm a little bit younger. When I was 12.
You young pups.
When I was 12, my dad scraped together as much money as he could, and he got us nosebleed seats at Mania 26 in Phoenix. So I got to see Michaels Taker the last match, and that's why I'm training now. If it wasn't for that match, I would not have wanted to be a wrestler, but I saw it live and wanted to be a wrestler after that.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, round one. So was 2 years before that, or the year before that? That's my favorite match of all time. Everything just clicked. I don't know, that match just got me in every sort of level. That match to me is the best match of all time. That's gonna have Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker round one. But you could tell, I love Shawn because you could tell he goes out there and just has fun. And Shawn Michaels, the character, is Shawn Michaels the person.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I love most about watching him. And that's who I kind of emulated my wrestling career after. So you and me are on the same path, bro.
Wonderful. A final fan question is from Terry Nielsen on Facebook. He asks, who is your dream opponent and dream partner?
Dream opponent. It's always been a dream to wrestle. It's never going to happen, but never say never. I've always wanted to get in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin for more than just drills. I got to put him in a headlock during WWE Tough Enough, and I was stoked as hell. And got to do a little bit of stuff in there in the ring with him. But I would love to be in the ring with him, one-on-one. Dream partner? Man, there's so many talented guys out there. I'd have to go with somebody that can fly. Someone like a Puma or a Kill Shot, like Ricochet or a Kill Shot or a Johnny Mundo. Something like that, because I'll let them do all the flying and I'll just do the smiling and powers game on the ground. So that's a tough one. But Stone Cold Steve Austin is a man I always wanted to be in the ring with, one-on-one.
Wonderful. Marty, thank you very much for coming on to the show one last time.
No problem, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug before you leave?
Yes, please. Number one, to the fans of wrestling and or Lucha Underground, thank you very much. I always say at the end of every interview, without wrestling fans, it'd just be two guys rolling around in spandex. So thank you very much for being fans. For you Lucha Underground believers, I love you all. You guys are the loudest part and one of the best parts of Lucha Underground, and I hope you guys keep being as vocal as you have been. Let's do this for 7 more seasons now. We'll be seeing you, Lucha Underground fans, very, very soon. I know stuff. It's going to be very soon. In other words, follow me, though. I'm Martin Casals on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The last name is C-A-S-A-U-S. It's the same on all of them. Martin Casals, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I try to write back to everybody that writes me messages or sends me comments or anything. Again, thank you, fans, and please follow me and give me a chat.
Wonderful. Thank you guys for watching the show. This is Planet Mars on the... Sorry, this is MarsTV. I messed up the name of my own show. This is MarsTV on the Planet Mars YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at the Skylar Mars, or follow me on Instagram, which is at the Martian Dude. On Facebook, I have my own new business page, just Skylar Mars. Search it up. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you guys again next time. And thank you again, Marty.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you guys. Everyone have a good night.